So I'm Ricky MacDonald and I own RLM Windows based in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Very good. So, Ricky, it's been a while.
It
Um,
has.
it's been a while. I remember the webinars we were doing through COVID and all sorts. So, the first question, it's going to take you back a bit, but I like to ask people what was life like before Business Pilot, before we start talking about actually life with Business Pilot. So, what was it you guys were doing before Business Pilot?
Do you know what? I knew this question was going to come up, and don't know how we did it. I really don't know how we ran things. The honest answer is we used to share bits of paper. We used to share files. We thought we were quite advanced in technology by using OneDrive to share photographs and things like that. But a lot of it, to be fair, a lot of it was stored up in the minds of the person who was dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I'd get a lot of phone calls from the office staff asking various questions about a contract or about a job, and the other way around as well
Mm.
with the other members of the team. So yeah, I really don't know how we ran before putting a business pilot in place.
So you'd be, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised. I was definitely surprised when we first, if you like, went public with Business Pilot. One of the biggest things we were thinking about is how will we import, or not import, how will we get people's data out of the systems they're currently in order to import it into our system. And we really thought long and hard, and we came up with all these import things, and we'd done a load of work on it. The reality is, I would say 50-50. There are still, and that's even today, there's so many that are still using whiteboards. Like you say, they probably, they're quite techie advanced. They'll use OneDrive or Dropbox or whatever it is they've got. So actually, there's a lot of installers still doing that. And we're a few years on from what we're talking about with yourselves. So okay, well, go on then. So that's what it was like then. What's the difference now that you've got Business Pilot?
It's yeah, really good. The business, like I said, I don't know how we did it without Business Pilot, but the business just runs a lot better. It runs a lot smoother. Um, I work from home most of the time now, so I'm not in the showroom or out and about. I've got an
Mm.
office from home, and I kind of look after things here. Um, as you know from photographs I've sent you,
Mm.
I've worked from various places when I've been on holiday and things like that. Through being able to use Business Pilot and log in everywhere. Even the guys on site, it's great for them to be able to just log in, and they've got all the information that they need without. So I think it cuts down the amount of kind of cross communication that we have within the office or within the team as well.
Mm.
And people can just find out the answers. The answers are all there. They're all on Business Pilot. They're all there, ready to go for whoever wants to look at it.
Yeah. So in all of that, and I think it's what you're alluding to anyway, but would you then say it's made you a lot more efficient?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely made us a lot more efficient. I mean, there's so much that Business Pilot does, and I've used it now since I think 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Came on back end, and I'm still amazed at how much we learn all
Mm.
the time, and not necessarily new things that are in Business Pilot, but things that we kind of probably didn't utilize or didn't utilize as well.
Yeah.
So we're using. I mean, we not only do we use it for contracts and for booking jobs and things, but we use it to its full advantage for everything. Uh, like I say, with me working from home, my biggest thing is watching the stats and the figures and the percentages of various things in there, and making sure that they're where they should be.
Mm.
Even down to the colours, I quite like the colours of the red and the amber and the green. And as long as I keep seeing greens, I'm quite happy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You're right, and actually, it's a mix between. There's been so much added on since 2019, but actually, there's so many features that even somebody coming on board now, there is no way they could use every feature in day one, week one, or even month one. There's just too much in there, so what we do, and in fact, whereas back in the day we'd do an onboard day, now it's 2 days. The standard is 2 days because there's just so much in there. And we just say, look, just keep expanding your usage of it. You've got it all from day one, but just use the bits they're solving your biggest challenges. And then once you're comfortable, start solving the next biggest challenge and just roll it out. Before you know it, you'll be using a lot of it, but you can't do it on day one.
Yeah, that's probably relevant to what I've just said about how we use it and that we're finding out new, not necessarily new things in there, but just different areas of Business Pilot that we're using all the time. I think one of the biggest challenges for me in the early days when I was looking at Business Pilot, I'm kind of thinking, how do we put all the data into here, and how are we going to do all this? And it was just one step at a time, and kind of going. I think we started running with the diaries first and the schedule board and things like that, and then just slowly introduced more sections of Business Pilot.
Yeah,
as we went on.
Yeah, and I think that's what you have to do. You mentioned obviously the fitters with the app, but how would you say, like, across the team, how have they adapted to it? I know it's been in a while now, but how was the uptake?
Yeah, I think my fitters used it quite early on when it was available, and they do like it. It makes things a lot easier for us, especially just it's quite a simple app, I suppose. Just it gives them it gives them just what they need, but it's also very efficient that we don't have to be as involved every morning with jobs and what jobs are going out. The fitters, my fitters sometimes look at the jobs a week, 2-3 weeks in advance. Depends how often they're booked in the schedule board. But my fitters kind of look quite far in advance to see what jobs they've got, the plan things, to make sure they've got things on the vans. But yeah, the fitters really like it. They use it to its full advantage. They sign their jobs off. They upload photographs back to the system in the office. And they really like it. Our showroom is based separate to the kind of the unit that we run from, so it just makes it a lot easier that the showroom team can kind of put things on there, or any notes for the fitters, or show them contracts on their end, and it just means that the fitters haven't got to run down and pick bits of paper up from the showroom or things like that. It all just gets sent across to them. So yeah, it's great.
There was all that talk in 2020, obviously, about remote working because of what had just happened. But actually, what you're describing there is, you've got the showroom, you've got you working from home, you've got the unit, you've got the fitters out on site. And actually, it sounds like, and I certainly hope it is, but it sounds like Business Pilot then becomes that glue that means actually you can all do that, because there is a central point, and it might not be an office, but it's a bit of software.
Yeah, definitely. I never thought I would be working from home. Never ever thought it. And back in, you mentioned earlier about doing all these calls in the early days of lockdown. I think we went on the Business Pilot at the right time, back end of 2000, well, maybe mid to back end 2019.
Yeah.
So we were just starting to kind of use Business Pilot a lot, putting information in there and using it. We really couldn't have got through, I guess, lockdown the way we did without Business Pilot. Me and David, we just communicated every day through Zoom calls, through sharing stuff on Business Pilot, and it was just so easy. We just on that day that the country got put into lockdown, we just closed the showroom, came home, had a laptop, and that was it. Business Pilot came into action, and everything was there, just ready to go.
Well, it was really interesting that time, because obviously we fast forward into March, and anybody who was already up and running on Business Pilot, they were in a really good position. But what you now had is all these people who really needed Business Pilot, but they couldn't get into the office in order to do the initial stuff to get stuff onto Business Pilot. So they were like really stuck. Then we got the COVID bubble, as it were. So everybody was too busy to bring Business Pilot on, so they're too busy running around. And then actually it took, until all of that sort of bubble before we really saw massive growth. So 22, we'd seen growth through COVID, of course, or through the lockdowns, but really it was after those two events when people said, we can't do that again. It was a nightmare. We've got to do something about it. And that's why 22 was just huge.
Realized, I think we all realized, didn't we, after during the lockdown, being stuck at home, and how difficult it was running a business. I mean, for me, it like I say, perfect timing for us going on the Business Pilot in 2019, because when we did go into lockdown, I wasn't one for kind of just sitting around the house and doing nothing. I was quite proactive about kind of shaping up the business, because I thought I'll never get this time again to do work on the things that I want to work on, that I really don't get a chance. So I don't know if you can remember. Probably I used to email you nearly every day, I think, asking questions. And it gave me my time to kind of customize Business Pilot to our needs, and build in document templates and email templates, and just the little tweaks that had been on the to-do list for so long, that I never really got around to doing. So it was definitely perfect timing for us when we went on it, and then going into lockdown.
Yeah, 100%. So I suppose then, looking at your journey with Business Pilot and how you've done it, and maybe you do it slightly differently next time, but if you were talking to somebody tonight, another installer, and they said, we've just signed up with Business Pilot, so we've got our onboarding all booked, what would your advice be to them in terms of how they should take on Business Pilot?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier about taking steps with Business Pilot. I've never really thought about it like that, but take steps and kind of just do what's crucial at the time. For us, it was getting the diary sorted, getting the fitness schedules sorted, because there is so much in Business Pilot that I don't think you can do everything overnight. I think it's impossible to transition overnight to go on to it. So I would say start with the main things. As we all know, any CRM system, I guess, is only as good as the information that you put into it, and just use it to its full advantage. Really, I mean, we use it for everything now. We use it. I just wish Business Pilot could do our quotes. I know there's software out there that you've got that it has integrations with it, but we don't use that software, unfortunately. I would say go on it. If anybody out there is thinking about going on it, don't hesitate any longer, and just do it, make that move. I think for me, at the time I first seen you guys at the Fit Show, and kind of looked at it and thought, this looks great. And then when I looked at it, I was a little bit bamboozled by it all, thinking, how are we going to run this? But I think do it. It's so easy once you start getting your information in there and start using it. It's such a great system.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So one thing I'm massive about, and I know you do it anyway, because you and Wayne and Liam meet up, is the Business Pilot community. I'm really sort of keen that Business Pilot isn't just a bit of software, it's actually a community of installers that all help other installers, because there's enough work for all of us, that's for sure. So if we can all help each other become better at what we do, that's got to be a big thing. That starts with the team at Business Pilot and what, the kind of, I suppose, the culture that we try and create. So in terms of your experiences talking with the team at Business Pilot, how would you say they are? What comments have you got on that?
I think the team are really, really good. We've dealt with over the years mainly Rebecca, and she's been brilliant. And there's been probably some silly questions from us over the years, and every time we get a good answer back, and we get help straight away. One of the things that I really, really like, you'll probably not want me to say this on this chat, but if there's anything that I think, if we get this bright idea and I think, oh, that could really help us if this was in Business Pilot. And normally when I email you guys, you say, yeah, that's something that we can do, or that's on the list to do, or it's coming. So I quite like the way the team are quite easy to deal with. The Business Pilot community with the other installers is really good. I know we've got the Facebook group thing. Everybody's helpful, and I think again, like you just said about everybody kind of networking and not, sticking together really and helping each other out. It really works.
For me, we want those ideas. We can't always do every idea that's sent in straight away, and I know, that there's a couple that you've asked for and we still haven't done them. But the key thing is we haven't lost them either. They're on that ideas board and they don't leave it. All we've got to do is just keep prioritizing how many people are asking for specific things. That to me is key to how we keep developing the system, because one thing we can't do is stop. Unfortunately, I don't think we want to stop either. That's not part of our culture. So we welcome the ideas.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I really love. I love, as sad as it sounds, I love getting that email every month or two and saying this is the update and this is what we've worked on. And normally I kind of read through them and I get quite happy about what's in there, because it's always something. The updates are always something useful or something that you kind of you think, yeah, that can work really, really well. And I think when I've had these little bright ideas and these light bulb moments in the past, and normally when I email across, it's on the list anyway. And you guys say, yeah, we know we're kind of working on that. So the kind of updates and the development of Business Pilot since I started on it in 2019 is just, it really has grown massively. Really, it really has. It would be interesting to go back, turn the clock back and see what Business Pilot actually looked like in 2019.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So the user interface, in terms of, if you like, the style, has had minor tweaks, but nothing major. It always looked quite clean anyway. So it has had minor updates, but in terms of actually the features in there, it's completely different. You look at status progressions. That wasn't in there when you came on board. You look at BP Mail, all the integration of the mail, stuff like the Fencer and Certas integrations, the Zero integrate. So loads of stuff that just wasn't there, and it just gets added. And then last year we took the decision to do some real under the hood stuff that would set us up for the next, if you like, bit of growth. It's like the code base. When you look at a lot of these older systems, they're still running the same code as they did when they started. And that becomes really slow, really clunky. And we were determined that we're not going to let that happen. So we always update that code base. And it makes no difference to the end user in the moment that we're doing it, but it does over time, because it means we can keep the speed up. And And so we did a load of those developments last year, and that's really set us up for this year. So now, as you'll have seen, we'd already got customers in Ireland and Jersey. Now we've got out into the US, but we're able to do it without affecting the UK system, which is a big bit of development. That doesn't make any difference day to day, except it makes a massive difference underneath the hood. So and it now means we can roll out like some of the API integrations that they're working on at the minute, and so many features. I don't want to name everything because by the time the video's out, it'll be old hat, but just some stuff that we're really excited about. And it is always good, by the way, when you reply on a feature update, that makes me feel at least it's worthwhile sending them out. So it's
I love them. Like I say, I look, as sad as it sounds, I do look forward to getting that email and saying this is what's new, because I work all day every day on Business Pilot, and it's great to have these little things and these little tweaks that we use and that we just find very useful on the day-to-day stuff.
No, good. Okay, so Ricky, final question then. Somebody's out there, they're looking to improve how they sort of operate, as it were. So looking around CRM systems, what would you say to them?
Do it. Just get a CRM system, get Business Pilot. I looked for so long, and I kind of couldn't make that leap at first, and I just thought this isn't going to work, or how are we going to make this work? It really does. Back to what I said earlier about the CRM, probably only as good as the information that you put in, but once you put that information in, it's just there. It just makes life so much easier. Definitely running the business easier. And for me, it's kind of give me a new position in the business, that I don't have to share all these files, or I don't have to bring files down to the showroom and things. I can just let Business Pilot run in the background, and all the team run off Business Pilot, and it puts my focus on other things. So yeah, I definitely get it. I'd 100% recommend it.
Oh, brilliant. I really appreciate your time and your words as well. So I wanted to share these stories. We put a lot of effort into what we do, and I wanted to get the message out, not from us saying how good we are, that anybody can do that. I wanted just to hear it from people using Business Pilot, as you say, every day. So that's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem whatsoever.